And set streaming, and we should be live. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Round 3 of this, and we've got a list this time. Last time was shorter, first one was pretty long, and we've got basically as many 6th and Extra Ranger Mecha as primary Mecha on this list. Yes, it actually has grown to be that large, as a few series have more than one of each. Just to preempt people who might ask, we're not counting Liner Boy on this list because the 6th Ranger status of the Solar Zord from Lightspeed Rescue is Power Rangers exclusive. It's going to be on the Auxilary Mecha list. Likewise, nothing from Gekiranger is here. I actually put that in the description because Gekiranger is weird when it comes to all of its mecha. Like, the Extra Rangers mecha are all armaments, and then Gekichopper is counted as a add-on main ranger for the team, so his mecha, due to its timing, is actually an auxiliary mecha. So they're not showing up on this list either. Just preempting those two because those are going to be the ones with the biggest questions about that. But since 6 Rangers for several years actually replaced secondary mecha, that's kind of why this list was even required in the first place. Yeah, so I also had to change the setup a bit because the slideshow option of OBS after its latest update was not scaling them correctly. I tried to do it with the more modern photo viewer. That doesn't work with OBS at all, apparently, so I had to dig out the Windows Photo Viewer. I actually prefer the Windows Photo Viewer, but for everything, I hate that it's not supported anymore. I hate the newer Photo Viewer that they have going for everything, so that's why you have the white background now behind the images, because they're clear-based. But yeah, we are starting this off with the original 6 Ranger Mecha, and of course that is Dragon Caesar, aka the Dragonzord.
He wants to give you a big hug.
So yeah, Dragonzord is one of the most iconic Sentai Robos because it started an entire separate line of them.
Like, I mean, what can you really say about the Dragonzord or Dragon Caesar that hasn't already been said?
It's Mechagodzilla.
Like, it's Mechagodzilla, but like, how iconic it was. To say nothing about, like, I mean, like, when we were watching Power Rangers as kids, like, the original team in Dinosaur Megazord was already cool enough, but then he shows up, and it's like, what?
And in fact, they used him a lot in battles and in its other modes, speaking of which, that is also on this list, to show off how cool it could be. In fact, it has rocket fingers.
Rocket fingers?
Like, straight out of Gunbuster. It has the drill tail. It has... I remember it doing something with its mouth as a cannon. I do not remember that accurately.
It went numb on a pipe.
Yeah, it went numb on a pipe.
Ow.
The only issue it really has is its limited range of motion, but it's based on Mechagodzilla and a Godzilla sword. Like, you were going to have that as a limitation. But yeah, it is very aesthetically pleasing. I don't want to put it in peak because we have a lot to go better Sentai 6th and Extra Ranger mechs, but it definitely is a strong start, so we're putting it top of hype for the moment. We might move it higher. We likely will move it higher. Speaking of which, Goryujin!
Goryujin!
I had to do this joke again. For people who saw my original Zyuranger review, I put this joke in there too. It is the same spelling.
Well, like, you know what? Honestly, my favorite part of Zyuranger was when Guy Shishio pulled out the Goldion hammer and totally whacked Witch Bandora in the face with it. Like, just punching her over the moon.
Yeah, I had to do this joke again. It is obligatory for me to bring it up every time Goryujin is mentioned. But yeah, the actual Goryujin mecha, the alternate 6th Ranger combination with everybody, well, the mammoth, the Triceratops, and the tiger getting used differently, and actually having a strong base shield just coming from the arms assembling themselves. I actually like this as much as the original Megazord.
Though... May I play, I just heard, like...
You want to play devil's advocate?
Yeah. I think it's just acceptable.
And it is.
Like, because Here's why. Shin pads.
Yeah, they are kind of gigantic.
Like, those are some gigantic shins. And now, I'm not judging it super harshly because of, like, this is the first six Ranger combination ever. Like, they didn't know what they were quite...
They did not use the Pterazord for anything, and
right.
I think... Like, they might have been able... Had they been thinking on that long term, they might have been able to use that as an alternate shield, like the drill spear,
yeah.
having and using the other chest piece as a different type of shield.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, those shins, like, I can't get past those giant shins.
Yeah, just the fact that they allowed this alternate combination to actually be a thing and not just draping the Dragonzord over as a mantle is the primary thing to do with it for the combination. They barely use Zute Daijujin in the original. But yeah, I kind of agree. I can kind of admit that it is acceptable. It's just more of a play value thing that allows for different integrations. Moving on, One Tiger. This is another hype one for me. We just recently did a stream building the SMP, so this is still on my mind. This is still on our minds due to recency bias. They did a lot to do right by the original DX toy with the SMP, for anyone who's interested in model building. But yeah, this is another hype one for me, if I can find it on the list without completely screwing up the tier list viewer. Why do you not put them in order? Scrolling them.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. So yeah, this is hype for me, but it's not as strong as Dragon Caesar, the Dragonzord is, simply because this is a lot less of a color contrast with it all. Like, it's acceptable, but it is overwhelmingly white. Which is appropriate because marble.
Dude, you can't just ask the robot why it's white. Mean Girls joke.
Yeah, anyways, since we did Go Ryujin, we have to do Kiba Dio. And yeah, this is the same early 6th Ranger stuff. They had to create a similar combination scheme because that's all they thought to do. It's actually less effective than Dragon Caesar, though, as it doesn't have a proper combination with all the other 5, just 4 of them as an alternate power combination. And for putting it all together, it definitely feels like a different mech.
Yeah, but I like this one more than Go Ryujin because at least it uses the pink Rangers.
Yeah, it adds in the Phoenix appropriately into a kind of arm covering blade, and also like the shooting off the Phoenix as the finishing attack, like supercharging it.
Golden Garo says, again, thank you for showing me in person in comparison to you guys. They're just thankful that we show off the SMPs because, the DX toys are so big, and like, how big are the actual SMPs, you know?
Like, I don't own any of the DX toys anymore. I had Gokaiyo for a while, but I decided to sell it when I found the mini plup. Before I found the mini plup.
Yeah, and before we continue on, there's also the head.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if they kept, like, the visor aesthetic that,
like, remove the visor aesthetic, kept the crown?
Yeah. You could keep the, like, remove the the red visor thing, keep the, Thunder Megazords,
yeah, just to leave the mouth behind.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, it still has that crown aesthetic, and I need to scroll down again, because, again, these are not in order. Oh. So, yeah, it is more acceptable than Go Ryujin, but still acceptable.
On Davis Brain said, Gekiwolf!
Yeah.
I mean...
For those who haven't seen Gao Gaigar, watch Gao Gaigar. That is a Gao Gaigar reference. A different one. Ninjor, aka Ninja Man. He counts as an extra ranger. He has a giant Titan form. Due to how we dealt with the Titan Megazord, aka Mach King, we have to count them in this. So anybody that has a giant Titan form has to be counted as their own mecha. They sell them as DX toys. They sell them as mecha. They actually sold separate SMPs and Shoto figures for Ninja Man explicitly to reference that. So how do we want to rank Ninja Man? Because he is a classically aesthetic ninja in blue.
I want to say acceptable as well, because like I've always been kind of passé on Ninja Man.
Yeah.
Like
it's the ninja problem.
Like it's not even like a ninja problem. It's just like he is just so ninja, you know?
He's the ninja of ninja. The ninja of ninja. Before we get to Hurricaneger. Yeah. At least he has gold contrast, and he was basically the prototype for Extra Rangers for a bit.
Yeah. Like, honestly, in these early days, this is all that, just as much as when Sentai Robos first became a thing, what a 6 Ranger and Extra Ranger could be was still in its testing phases, you know?
Yeah, and to be fair to like the Calc Ranger overall, it kind of went for simplistic aesthetics for a lot of its ninja stuff, so that's completely fine. It fits with the aesthetic of the series to a point. Like, Muteki Shogun was a bit over-designed, whereas some of the others were under-designed. Anyways, Samurai Man!
Yeah. I actually, like, honestly, like, it's kind of amazing, like, what a simple change in, like, you know, revealing the silver does for the whole piece, you know?
It's the helmet, too, that creates a better contrast.
Yeah. I would say he's definitely above Ninjor.
Now I gotta scroll down on the list again because I hope that's not screwing up the appearance over here, because due to us having to use the photo viewer, I don't have the OBS pulled up. And yeah, that's better placement. So yeah, they're still acceptable. We got a few hypes in there, but you know, it's the early side of this. And then we have the Pyramid.
Yes, the most devastating force of all. Ancient Egypt!
And, of course, go to the Empire March soundtrack. But yeah, King Pyramider in just this mode, because all of its other modes are combinations, so we can't use them for this list. The combinations are a different list. But yeah, in his base form, it's basically a tank that shoots ancient Egyptian laser beams. Thank you, Little Karibo, for that phrase. And doesn't do much else because it was a late edition unplanned toy for King Ranger, who barely appeared in O Ranger when you really think about it. Zeo did more with the Gold Ranger than O Ranger did, unsurprisingly, because that was when Power Rangers was actually maintaining a distinct level of good creativity in it.
Man, this episode of Stargate looks weird.
Actually, that might have been why, considering the timing of when the original movie came out. Japan has that track record of doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in acceptable again, dead center of acceptable, because it's an irregular 6th Ranger mech.
Right,
They really haven't done anything like that, so we can't really rate it as bad.
Yeah, it's just a pyramid.
It's just different.
Yeah, it's some sort of pyramid of lights? I mean, we both had the same thought.
Yeah. We might reconsider that. Okay. Gunma-jin, aka Auric the Conqueror. I had to double check. We almost left him off this list. Because he's not talked about much. He only appears in 6 episodes, and he is a small tiki head that grows into a giant tiki head and somehow grants wishes. I actually prefer his Auric the Conqueror incarnation because he gets rid of a lot that's annoying about the O-Ranger version of the character because, well, late-end O-Ranger isn't very good.
Yeah. I mean, this, again, Crash Bandicoot looks weird. You know, tiki head.
See, I'm the guy that knows of Crash Bandicoot, but never really played anything, so that reference just whooshes over my head.
So you're never down under for Crash Bandicoot?
Yeah. Moai, thank you for the correction, TTK Blazer. I just go to Tiki Head because...
Yeah.
That's the trope, and that is one of the ancient artifacts and O-Part stuff that O-Ranger homage there. But yeah, it's kind of uninspired. It was a late edition thing just to add another toy because O-Ranger's toy sales were crazy good.
It was one of...
At least in its era.
Yeah, which was the style at the time.
Yeah, which was the style at the time. So, he's actually in the top row, so I don't need to be scrolling. But yeah, he's kind of uninspired.
He's like the big shoes. Like when you think about what the transformation actually is, it's not that special. I mean, I get what they're doing, but once you see the trick once, like, what else is there?
Like, I had the toy of this. Basically, all it did was you put a key in the lock and opened it, and then it popped up and from a spring loading, and then it really didn't have much in the way of posability due to the spring gimmick with the legs. And it did have a sword, which you kind of had to leave the toy out of the mode, out of its storage mode, to actually not lose the sword. And then what do you do with the key?
Right. I mean, it couldn't have been, shouldn't it have become a keyblade?
Yeah. It unlocks people's deaths. Golden Gar, he's a shell former, kind of. The idea, the transformation is just it's standing up and unfolding into a cape, so it's not really in the same sort of shell forming that Transformers has, because with those you actually have to do something with the shell, whereas this naturally does something with the shell. I guess you can describe it as it. I'm not sure if the definition quite fits, but that's me.
Oh, Daniel Ramsey said, I think I lost the key. So it's like, oh, if you lost the key, then you were...
Oh, no, you weren't screwed. You could... Because there was the key turn was actually projected out, so you could turn it manually.
Join account. It's Thunder Blast's grandfather.
Yeah. Moving on. Siren from Car Ranger. The first extra ranger with a mech. Signalman was not officially a sixth ranger for the Car Ranger. He appeared infrequently. He was one of the first recognized extra rangers.
I honestly like this dude.
Yeah, the funny thing is, after the Car Ranger, aka the Turbo Ranger, the Turbo Power Rangers got the VRV Robos, aka the Rescue Zords, he actually aesthetically fit with that group of 5. So when they had fight scenes with all of them together, they blended in with each other.
It was actually, it's aesthetically pleasing, and like considering police, or like, he's a traffic cop, but like considering what would come later, he's not that out of place.
Honestly, I was a big RoboCop fan as a kid. Yes, I saw the RoboCop films when I was a kid. It was kind of weird. They were that R-rated movie that I gravitated to over like Alien, Predator, or the Terminator. It was weird like that. Maybe it was the satire. I also liked that Siren had additional tools you could just plug into the open grips on his hands that gave him a bit more playability, but resulted in them easily being lost. And unfortunately, when I played with it, I was at that age where I was losing teeth, so like the itching I needed to chew on something. This was basically the only one where I chewed on something like plasticky. But yeah, I'm gonna put this like top of acceptable.
Yeah, top of acceptable.
And I need to find it on the list because, again, these don't go in order for some reason. There he is. Why is he at the bottom? Yeah, top of acceptable because he aesthetically fits with everybody else.
So,
on to more Car Ranger.
There's a steering wheel on its dick.
This is the Radia Car Robo. It was not used in Turbo because it appeared all of 3 times by White Racer, the technical 6th Ranger of the Car Ranger. How many people who have actually seen Car Ranger knows about this?
It's like, what, like, I just need to, honestly, I need to kneel at this peak right here. Look, it's just... Look, like the cat head is so aesthetically pleasing. Like the steering wheel on the crotch. Like, how can you possibly top that?
Alexis did not know this existed until I brought it up.
He broke my mind. What the hell, man?
May I introduce you all to Kitty Konnichiwa? Seriously, this deserves to be a Hello Kitty collaboration. But yeah, it's going in clearance.
Yeah.
Like, there is no other option for this.
I love how, like, several people are going, like, one joint account's like going, what the fuck?
Yeah, I said in quotation marks because White Racer is the princess, alien magical girl princess that is the sister of one of the antagonists of Car Ranger. Both of whom are in love with Red Racer, which was referenced when Red Racer appeared in GoKaiger.
I can't wait for the S&P of this. It'll sell like a billion Karangian dollars.
It's like, it is weird. It is undeniably weird, but is it officially A6/extra hero mecha?
Media Hood Reviews. What is this? I don't even.
Golden Garo, was this in Turbo? No, it wasn't. It was Japanese exclusive.
So, and now we're passing the savings on to you.
Anyways, on to actually better stuff, the Mega Winger. Which was, of course, named the Mega Winger in English as well, because the name was on the console.
Yeah.
That's the literal reason why they kept it. So, yeah, I like the color balance better than Kiba Dio, because, you know, it transforms from a stealth fighter / tank to... It basically just stands up because it was another spring action gimmick toy. Basically, the legs were folded to the sides, and then you just press the M on the center, and everything popped out.
But isn't its weapon kind of weird?
Yeah, it's on the top of the wing fire mode, and then it's so big, it's supposed to be like a cannon bow, but it's so large it has to actually grip it with both hands, and it kind of...
It feels unwieldy and cumbersome.
Yeah. It basically exists to give a flight pack to the Mega Voyager, which logically should have been able to fly on its own because it's a collection of spaceships.
Right, so, like, you don't... Like, that thing doesn't have rocket thrusters on its feet or something?
No, well, it technically does, and on its back as well, but it technically can't use them in atmosphere to actually fly around because air resistance versus, you know, going straight up.
True.
Yeah. So, honestly... I like it aesthetically. I think its color balance is better than Kiba Dio, but it's still kind of uninspired.
Yeah, like, when you compare it to, like, everything else in the series.
Yeah, because Mega Ranger beyond Winger, it's like, Winger is the weakest of the mecha, I feel like.
Yeah, like, he's the one that you forget about.
Yeah. Like, if it was more like... Okay, another reason is, like, it's the first problem of the Silver Ranger issue, where so few of the silver colored Rangers actually have silver mecha.
Yeah, which is weird. 5D review. I think you mean Mavity.
We're not in the Doctor Who universe
yet.
No, we just have to put up with, what was the phrase? Parmesian. Moving on. Gingaman. Yes, Black Knight is on this list, and we're starting off with his individual Titan form, Heavy Bull Black. Heavy Bull? Heavy... I have the name here. Black Knight Heavy Knight mode.
I'm putting him in clearance because he tried to kill Aoi Yuki, and that is an unforgivable sin.
Vetoed.
Dang it. Okay, fine. Then he's got big boots.
He has big boots. He cannot lie.
He cannot lie about those big boots. Like, he is Sneakers O'Toole.
Yeah, Hexagon patterns, I like that he keeps a very similar aesthetic, with more red, admittedly, to show that, obviously, he can only hold this form for 3 minutes, but he becomes 3 times faster.
Oh yeah, because he's mostly red. I mean, like, when you're wearing red, you can go 3 times as fast.
Yeah, honestly... Bottom of unacceptable, we might move him down to uninspired later.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, the bigger focus is going to be on
the
Boltaros.
I actually like this guy.
Yeah, I like the chains. Actually, the chains half the time are retracted, but I liked how they handled the transformation. It's distinctly different from the other Star Beasts, even though it is counted among them. It actually has a pretty decent arc, more so in Gingaman, because there is the whole power axe thing that it gets later that is tied to a dwindling power force to it. Unfortunately, the toy is one of those that is definitely, it has knee articulation due to how it transforms, but is definitely a brick.
Yeah, but it's still aesthetically cool, you know?
HJ5's, what's up with the hexagon shoulders? Visual indication that it's the 6th Ranger. Even though Black Knight, due to the story engine of Gingerman, was not officially a 6th Ranger, he was an extra Ranger.
All these squares make an octagon.
Oh. Well, let's see, octagons are great. They have 8 sharp sides, but hexagons are the bestagons. I probably misphrased that meme, but but once Alexis prompted me, I had to say it. Yeah, I'm gonna put Boltaurus, aka the Defender Torzode, in bottom of hype once I find where it is on this. Any objections?
No objections.
Gotta put this back. And again, from Gingaman to Go-Go 5 / Lightspeed, we are again, I'm restating this, we are skipping Liner Boy, aka the Solar Zord, because it is only a 6th Ranger mech in Power Rangers. It will be on the Auxilary Mecha list.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on.
Peak.
Definitely peak.
Like, look, the Q-Rex slaps, okay? It is, I feel like it's a natural evolution from the Dragon Caesar concept to what if we took Mecha Godzilla but gave him over-the-shoulder cannons?
Ironically, this would then be the aesthetic that the Kiryu Mechagodzilla would go for a couple years after this.
It's kind of funny how, like, probably one fed into the other,
Yeah, probably because they were just going for a general Tyrannosaurus aesthetic. This is, of course, before scientists figured out that a Tyrannosaurus's tail didn't actually drag, but was counterbalanced for its gigantic head, so it was more...
Yeah.
Which has been reflected in more recent Tyrannosaurus designs. But yeah, this is peak.
It's like... Also, when you think about how it contrasts with Time Robo, it's a futuristic Robo dinosaur. Like that is just cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Time Fire slaps across the board. And even better than the cannons and the sharp claws and the... I forget if it had an energy breath or just fired the cannons.
I think it did.
It just being generally savage and all around aesthetically pleasing. It's mecha mode slapped.
Look, that is a super robot right there. Like, yes, it has one normal hand and one missile pod hand, but when you're this cool, you can pull it off.
Explosive freezing missiles, lightning wielding left hand, and then the gigantic freezer cannons. I fucking swear, this is the basis by which they designed Kiryu Mechagodzilla. If I want Death Battle to revisit the Kiryu Mechagodzilla fight, but get the V/Q Rex in.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah. So again,
and also the fact that like every weapon, everything you see on this, actually it serves a function. Do you know how many robots just have like in Sentai have like an aesthetic part about them that just kind of does nothing?
The fact it retains the tail.
Right. The tail doesn't do anything. It's just there, and it's like, yeah. Heck.
The only way this could be better is if the tail could be removed and like done a gimmick like Kishiryu Oh did, where it could use the tail as a whip or a sheet or a sword or something. Mm-hmm. Admittedly, again, missile launcher right hand, so it couldn't do a lot with it, but it could do stuff with it. Moving on. The first of 3 entries for Gao Hunter. This is technically Gao Hunter Justice, but I don't know when they did this clipping, but I could swear Gao Hunter Justice never had the alligator cannon propped up, because that was primarily a Gao Hunter Evil thing. But since Gao Hunter has 3 different aesthetics for it, it has to go on this list 3 times.
I mean, Gao Hunter just slaps in general.
No, it's going for peak. It's just like, which order of peak are we putting them in?
Yeah. I would say this one will go at the bottom of the peak because it's just the gator head up, even though that...
Yeah, it's like, it's a legitimate gimmick, which is, of course, recreated perfectly on the SMPs. I love these things. Mm-hmm. But they don't really use the gator cannon at all, from what I can remember of Gao Hunter Justice mode. He just used the gigantic revolver blade. Mm-hmm. Just in the crossover, I believe. Okay, yeah, I have not seen Gao Ranger in forever, so that's probably why I'm not remembering that. Moving on, Gao Hunter Evil, which is another gimmick that can be recreated from the SMPs. You just fold up the head and pull out the horn.
I mean, like, this is an example, like, one of the things that Gao Ranger did amazingly was, like, just this mech right here. Green, silver, purple, these and some blue. Those colors should not work together, but because they are placed in the ways that they all make a cohesive unit. You know what I mean?
Ironically, Gao Hunter would be a prototype for a lot of the mecha designs Super Sentai would utilize going forward with the limb change armaments, where they'd have a larger main body and then the smaller limbs. Like, you can cite so many mecha past this where they would do that aesthetic.
And I had this toy as a kid. It slapped.
Yeah. So that is definitely
above Justice.
Above Justice, but this is this for Justice and Evil. They reverse the aesthetic on these, unfortunately, because everything is Justice except for the head. So we would normally swap these two around, but not we can't really do that with what we had available for images. And of course, Gao Hunter Blue Moon, which is adding more blue in the alligator alongside gold for its super form.
I mean, it's still peak, but I think it's right in the middle.
Yeah, it got one utilization.
It got one utilization, but like, I mean, the blue does do something different for the whole unit, but
like, there's a reason I got a spare Gao Hunter set specific, not just for the Hammerhead and Wolf parts to do duplicates, but to do this aesthetic as its own separate mech. .5D review. Blue Moon is number 1. The blue on all three flows beautifully together. Actually, they're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the different 3 slightly different shades of blue, and then the gold and silver contrast against each other, and then purple is another royal color. They're right.
Oh yeah. This is why this is why we're doing this as a live stream, so we can have like this kind of feedback. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Moving on into the proper 2000s series as we know them. Tenkuujin, aka the Samurai Star Megazord.
I mean, I like Ninja Storm. I like the Hurricaneger mechs.
This is the weakest on its own.
It is the weakest on its own. It is because of how it's transformed and just the stupid hat.
Its head kind of does need the fourth blade of the star to really make it appreciable. When it tries to wield the rotor blades on its own, it looks wrong.
Right. It's just like it's not bad. It is like another Holy Green 6 Ranger mech, but this was always the one that I don't think about when I think about Hurricaneger. I usually think about like Go-Raisen
Pujin.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that one was used for so long, and it took them so long to get the Tenrai parts for it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give it points for this. It is one of the non-standard 6 Ranger colors where its mech actually does match the color scheme of the Ranger. Like, a lot of them do not.
Which is funny.
Yeah. So, I'm going to put it in bottom of hype. Or do you want to...
Yeah, bottom of hype is... Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, because it's still a good design. It's just, like, in comparison to the rest of its series.
Like, we're going to get to a point where... Oh, somebody donated money.
Jordan Reed donated €2. First and only 6th Ranger mech I own so far.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Like, again, this was 20 years ago,
yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of kids, people who were kids in the 2000s where this was more their jam. Moving on to Uba Ranger, Killer Oh.
I actually really like this guy.
Yeah, it has the tail aesthetic too, going off from when V-Rex did it. Its combination is weird, though, with the Patera becoming everything limb-based, while Stegazord is just also the combination of the torso, and the toy has no articulation because of the Stegazord's own gimmick of unfolding into a surfboard.
I mean, that's all Stegazords were known to do back in the day.
And the main body of... I'm forgetting the Japanese name, and I know they had they turned the second Patera into the Dragonzord in Dino
but
Thunder.
Like, this thing was a menace.
It was menacing, and it has the nice claw effect, but aesthetically it always seemed off, and it never seemed like the wings turned into the legs would actually support its weight without the tail.
I can see your point on that, and like, it's for what it's going for, the legs are too thin to like. It feels like something got mixed in the like this thing DNA digivolved, but like it digivolved wrong. You want it?
I mean, considering the genetics and evolution themes in Opera Ranger, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't rate this too highly.
Top Galler.
Top Galler, yeah, that was the Dragonzord's Japanese name. I have, unfortunately, because there are no good subs of Opera Ranger, I have not really gotten a chance to really watch the original show. I have fond memories of Dino Thunder using the footage, but that's kind of a hang up on me actually seeing the last Dinosaur Sentai series. Not last in order, last in actual viewing.
TTK Blazer, Top Galler, voiced by our famous Green River. Midorikawa?
Oh, yeah. Hikaru Midorikawa.
Yeah.
So yeah, where should we actually place this? Because I can't rate it too highly, and Acceptable's kind of getting crowded.
Right, so want to move it to the bottom of hype again? Or
where even is it on this list? It's the top tier. So I'm gonna move it to
how about we like
middle of acceptable under King Pyramidas,
and let's move him to the uninspired. Yeah.
Mr. Cool Guy Awesome, Opera Ranger was good, in my opinion. Yeah, the issue of why I've not watched it is there is no good translation of the series.
Yeah.
Either you have fan subs that are treating it like a dub, so they change a lot of material, which undermines the series, or you have the Shout Factory release. Or you have the actual best translation the show has had, HK subs. There is no good option. Moving on. Dekabike Robo.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me. It's kind of funny, like, you can see the fist for the super combination in its chest.
Yeah, honestly, I think Dekabike Robo is uninspired, if only because the bike mode was so well done for riding Gekiranger Robo that the actual robot mode suffers.
I can concur with that. Like, sometimes a mech will be so thought about in one phase that if they try to do anything else, it feels half-baked, you know?
Yeah. So I'm gonna put it, I can't rate it worse than the mech. Actually, I'm gonna swap Mecha Winger and Ganmajin.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on top of Uninspired.
Mm-hmm.
Primus versus Unicron. What's wrong with the Shout subs? What's right with them? They're machine translated. There's actual missing dialogue in their subs. It's a mess. And worse than being machine translated, there's allegations that they were actually stolen and regurgitated, remessed with from another fan subber. No one's locked that in. It's just they're not good. The fact that it's missing dialogue that should be translated should have been the indictment against their latest release, because apparently the Gekiranger set had the same problems. Like, stop. We keep giving Shout Factory chances, and they keep screwing up. Like, there's a reason why we double down on Discotek, because Discotek actually does their due diligence. Moving on, Deca-based crawler mode.
I honestly, if I kind of want Gekiranger to get an SMP, because I am a sucker for bases that turn into robots.
This thing would be ridiculously huge, pushing $200 to $300.
And you don't think I like giant robots?
I mean, it is giant robot. It will likely be larger than King Jader,
and that would be awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I liked Deca Crawler. They basically didn't use it. The issue with honestly all of the Deca bases base and vehicle modes, like, it is great to see the primary base of a team turn into something gigantically massive and powerful, and to showcase why the villains can't really attack them at their whims and destroy just where they live. But a particular problem with me in this is you can see the handle.
What handle?
The handle for the toy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like this is the prop from the show. This is from the show, but you can still see where this is overtly toyetic.
Yeah. But it's kind of neat that I can do it. But but I would not be surprised if we put it in uninspired.
Yeah, it's just folding down. It's a transitionary point to the actual robot mode, for the most part, which isn't bad in and of itself. It's just, it doesn't really add much.
Oh, DJ Toku, I'm glad you mentioned this. I feel sorry for the non-rangers inside. Gives me flashbacks to when the Macross transformed. Funny you say that because
there's always that in closing res cutscene where they transform the base and then Jasmine Raymond falls over as she's in one of the open areas.
Yeah.
Like, that is a fantastic ad-lib. I wish they had done more of those as the ending sequences than the dances. Kind of like the early Power Rangers season using the bloopers amidst the credits stuff.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, because, like, there is a crawler mode.
Yeah. Crawler mode, robot mode.
This thing's... No, that fucks.
It's a giant torso cannon. Giant cannons for hands, and the knee pads are more cannons.
It's like, if somebody said to me, what kind of robot do you think Doggy Kruger primarily pilots? And I would be like, conjure something like this.
Like, the full straight-on transformation for this is amazing. The fact that the main order room, the command center transforms into the full cockpit is fantastic. This is going peak.
Yeah, like, that is armed to the teeth. It is ready for, like, this is an example of what happens if you attack home base.
Yeah, this is bottom of peak simply because aesthetically the V-Rex and Gao Hunter are just better, but here's the thing. For this list, since we're doing both 6th and Extra Ranger Mecha, it means there will be 2 candidates for GOAT tier and 2 candidates for Donate tier. We're just doing the lists together because there's crossover on what counts for what. So, moving on. Trevelyan.
He's too chunky for me.
Yeah, we kind of brought this up when we talked about Grand Liner in the last list, but Trevelyan is trying that Grand Liner aesthetic, but it's too chunky.
It is way too chunky for its own good, and I'm not trying to fat shame it. I am just saying that, like, proportion-wise, it's too, like, all of its limbs are just too wide and thick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, I get it doing a contrasting aesthetic, where this is the big bruiser, while Mach King is more the agile adept caster, but honestly, it doesn't fit the same way. Also, to be fair, again, this serves a purpose in the storylines of Magic Ranger and Mystic Forces, giving them transport to other realms and whatnot, but...
So, like, it's not like it's useless or anything. It's just, it's too thick.
Yeah, when they finally came out with the aesthetic, it needed to be slimmer.
Mm-hmm.
So, unfortunately, we're going to have to put that at top uninspired. Like, at least there's a color contrast, but it also goes back to that problem of you get a certain color ranger and then the mech doesn't fully match their aesthetic.
For what they are, you know?
Yeah. And it contrasts badly against WolKaiser.
Like, come on, that thing's just badass.
No, this is another Extra Ranger candidate for peak for me.
Right, because, like, purple, black, and gold. Like, that is a killer aesthetic right there.
My one disappointment with this is there is no Woolzard Fire that is compatible with this. There at least no official toy. Like, obviously, you can take the toy and color the Woolzard figure that combines with the horse red to do that, but I really wish they had done that as, like, a last few episodes thing. Like, even just changing the torso piece would have made it plausible to pull that off.
Yeah, but, like, a Dark Knight combining with his steed, it's like, so good. Like,
if we were judging suit designs for Super Sentai and Power Rangers, we might actually do that. That might be a list in the future. Like, Woolzard is top tier GOAT qualifier for Extra Rangers on that. But yeah, this is peak tier, and just due to its contrasting aesthetic. Black complements purple very well. Gold is great contrasting color. I feel like this works better. I can't rate it as higher than
Deka base or
I can't rate it higher than Gao Hunter. Gao Hunter just pulls off more aesthetically, but it's definitely up there. DJ Tokyo, have you seen Kaiser fused Wolzart? Kaiser is the combination type. The unicorn would be a different combination, and you're talking. Yeah, I've seen the images of the DX toy with Wolzart fused with the unicorn.
Golden Garo, what about Centaur mode?
I do not have that on this list. Thank you for reminding me, and so we can just get that on here. Yeah, good call out. Very good call out.
I had a feeling we were forgetting something. I just couldn't remember it.
Yeah. I'm scrolling down the page. Is it not? Okay, there we go. So yeah, this is my bad.
Technical difficulties.
I even went through this earlier to make sure I actually had everything. I guess part of the problem is I'm going down the Sentai-based list, and there's only so much I can actually pull from that without actually being able to double-check everything. So, 0029-3. I'm not sure if that will update into the playlist. It does not. But yeah, WolKaitaros. Unfortunately, we don't have the image, but I can at least import that into the list here. Yeah, a good, very good call out, chat. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Never without a botch. Yeah, pretty much. WolKaitaros. See, again, the problem is I can't close that out without like screwing over the entire.
DJ Token, what about Magi Mother?
Magi Mother does not have a transformation. That is another. Yeah, they're barely a character as an extra ranger in that, and she doesn't really have a transformation in the same way.
Mm.
And it's like, yeah, that's the kind of question mark, because it's more a ranger form than an actual extra ranger form. Like it's not like we're counting WolKaiser in his. When he just grows giant.
Oh, yeah. Like, we're talking, like, if Magi Mother could combine with another mech, that'd be one thing, but...
Okay, can I actually swap that over? Again, technical difficulties, 1 second. Yeah, she had a Titan form, but...
Mm-hmm.
And the butt is the problem. Yeah, there it goes. So yeah, Kentaro's, like, it's a more transitionary form than anything.
Yeah, but it is funny. I don't know, it's something about it, just, like, this half-man, half-robot horse just... makes me giggle a little bit.
I kind of feel like it's uninspired because it's just an incomplete transformation. Yeah. The rear legs of the horse become the upper armor in the transformation, and it's taking advantage of that.
Is he gonna sell me Old Spice?
I'm on a horse. Yeah. It is aesthetically more pleasing than Trevelyan, though, so top of uninspired. Yeah, and again, Magi Mother is not here because, well, she has a Titan, she has an expansion spell. That's basically just it.
Domain expansion?
Domain expansion. Moving on to Siren Builder from Bokenger. aka the I printed out the list because I couldn't actually do a doc file this time. Flashpoint Megazord. We're getting into the era where I don't remember the names for a lot of the American release versions of these.
Yeah. I actually really like Siren Builder. Though, like, Siren Builder's biggest downside for me was how limited it was in its armaments.
Yeah, it has guns, but it just is more a punching robot, and it gets the advantage of Boken Silver being able to make its legs retract down, so like it could do the stronger uppercuts.
Yeah, which like there were times where that proved a useful feature, the ability to just duck on command and then pop right back up again. But like
Mr. Cool Guy, awesome. I don't think this thing got a DX release. It did in Japan. I cannot say whether it got an American DX toy release, because that was when Bandai of America, in their absolute stupidity, decided to stop importing the Japanese toys and decided they'd make their own, and no one bought them.
Because I remember seeing them in stores and
they were garbage.
I saw them in stores and I thought like Power Rangers was dying because like they just sucked. I like something just
like, if you wanted to make them slightly smaller and use cheaper plastic like they did for some of the other ones following this, that was fine, but it was basically a prototype for for the garbage Zord Builder line that they would do when Saban bought the property back. And whereas the actual DX toys for Bokenger, if you got the Japanese versions, which a lot of people just did instead by that point because Japanese importing was becoming more in vogue, they were actually really cool. We only learned this today, but you could actually combine the jets of that series with the back of this to get a flight mode, which they never used in the show. And the fact that Siren Builder has that same three-piece aesthetic as Gao Hunter is also a plus, because it could do limb swapping, which we'll be discussing when we get to the Armament Mecha list.
But for the when it swapped limbs, it didn't look right.
Yeah, this is probably the best aesthetic for it.
Yeah, it is like unfortunate, which is
Mr. Cool Guy, it didn't get released in America. Yeah. Yeah, I do not think it did. But then again, the Overdrive was a mess. I do not consider it the worst series of the original 17. It is down there though, for reasons not completely its own fault.
I would definitely honestly put it in acceptable.
Yeah, I'd say it's center of acceptable.
Yeah.
Because if the next SMP series, the next SMP series was teased by 5x5, and that could mean Great 5 Robo, Victory Mars, which we are kind of hoping for, or possibly Bokenger because Go 5. But I would not mind buying this if this is the next SMP line they're doing.
Especially if they keep the gimmick.
Yeah, especially if they keep the gimmicks, whichever way they had. Now, as I said before, there is no Gekiranger mecha on this list because the Gekichopper is a main ranger, so his mecha is an auxiliary, counts as an auxiliary, and the actual extra rangers have their mecha be armaments. So we gotta skip them because they're not their own separate functional thing.
Which makes them weird.
Yeah. Gekiranger is weird with qualifying these across the board. So that has us move on to... Oh wait, we forgot! Zuban! Because it actually has a transformation to it. AKA the Solaris Knight. So we kind of have to... I keep forgetting I even put this on this list because we gotta count him. He did go giant and turn into a giant sword to be wielded. It was sold as a toy in the gigantic mecha line. Speaking of which, that's another reason why we can't count G-Mother in this. She was never turned into a toy to be part of a DX mecha line. Wolzard, aka Korag, actually was. So I guess that's the external universe qualifier for that.
Suban.
Yeah, that's basically all he said. I kind of preferred what Overdrive did with trying to give like the Solaris Knight a separate character to turn into this. Better utilization of suits with that regard, even with how short Overdrive was.
Spawn.
I kind of like the gigantic sword weapon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Zubat is not in armament simply because it has a human fighter mode, and I checked. Alexis confirmed for me. He does go giant and fight in his humanoid mode a couple times. Yeah,
he does. He definitely did. I'm translating it from Zubanese into regular English. But yes, Zuban did turn into like a giant form, and he could turn himself into a sword while giant. for Ultimate Daiboken to use. So like,
oh no, yeah, Chad is right. That was Daggeron in Mystic Force. So what was Zuban's counterpart's name? I completely forget on it because it's been forever since I've seen Overdrive, because, as I said, Overdrive might not be the worst series, but... Sentinel Knight.
Sentinel Knight.
Yeah, that makes less sense, though, considering its story role. But yeah, that's my bad. Again, I haven't seen that series in forever. So, yeah, I completely forgot he was even on the list. Yeah, so, and again, that's my bad. So, anyways, actually on to Gekiranger with, and RPM with Tokyu Oh, aka the Mach Megazord.
I had this toy, or like, I still have this toy, I'm not sure where it is. You know what? No. Clearance.
Yeah? Really?
Well, okay. I get what it's going for, but I feel like it's like everything, like the Orca itself clashes with the bird, like the jets.
Yeah, and when I got the mini plot, even with the legs, the way the legs is the tails, it did have difficulty standing on its own. And we discussed this before with Gekiranger, and the key to Gekiranger is the mech designs get better the more you combine them. It just becomes so audacious, it becomes amazing.
But it's like, you transform this thing enough times and you start to realize like its shortcomings. And
yeah, it's like even the
fact that the chopper blades, like when transformed, would get in the way of basically anything, you know what I mean? So like, the archer bow gimmick is like, part of the problem is it's definitely designed for the combination, because the bow becomes the helmet of G9, and then you have the entire connector chest piece for over the Red's mech, whose name I'm blanking on off the top of my head because it's been forever. But yeah, it's definitely a mech that's more designed for the combination than it is individually. Right. It's like, it's on its, that's why I want to put it in clearance, because it doesn't do enough on its own, and even when it's made for the combination.
Yeah, it's made for the combination. Gekiranger mecha gets better as you combine them.
Right.
Okay. Dai-Kaiso Higashi. Here's the problem here. We have all 4 of Dai-Kaiso's modes, because each time it changes its face, it does something aesthetically different.
Yeah,
so this is the first one where it's more a brawler and has the horns up.
I never quite liked this thing.
It's again another mecha where it's more made for the combination.
Yeah. It's like, for me, the arms are too stubby.
Yeah. At least it has a good color contrast. It matches the Ranger.
Yeah, it actually matches the Ranger.
So we kind of have to rate it high in uninspired, because the worst ones just don't. And I have 4 Dai-Kaios on this list. I'm trying to find the right one. Right here. Yeah. So top of uninspired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's some sort of rock lobster.
Rock lobster. Dai-Kaiso Nishi, the fan one.
It's still below.
Yeah, it's definitely below.
I'm not the biggest fan of it.
Yeah, I kind of want to put it center, because it's not really doing anything.
Yeah.
And then Minami, with actually wielding the swords, makes it look a bit better.
But like, it's also kind of silly that to make it wield swords, it has to change a face, and that's just weird to me.
Yeah, Higashi actually is the one where it unleashes the claws, so it's like, give him the clamps.
Give him the clamps. Gonna give you the clamps.
Yeah. Jordan Neal kind of loved Bandai of America resculpted this into a Black Scorpion Zord for Decker.
Did they? I don't know.
Huh. If they would, I don't know. And then Dai-Kaiso Kita, which honestly I think is the best of them.
It is the best of them.
Simply because the Ika origami parts actually provide more contrast.
Yeah. It feels like the Megazord is not complete without it.
Yeah. Which makes sense, because they both did come with Genta.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the Eco Origami being the most utility typed origami out of the armament ones. So yeah, top of uninspired is getting a bit crowded, so
bottom acceptable. Yeah.
Golden Garo, he's gonna give you such a pinch. Moving on, Gosei Ground. He's a power type.
Yeah.
Like, this is another case of more made for combining, but honestly, I like his solo aesthetic.
Yeah, he like his head's a bit too pointy for me, but I like the color balance.
I kind of wish that they'd allowed a bit of cross combining. Like, I know you can do it with the toys, but what if you created a ground Gosei Grand? Like, you use the land Gosei Grand, the land headers. Like, you have Gosei Knight go in his own vehicle form and then attach the land Gosei machines to him.
So it's like, I like the cut of his jib.
Yeah. I think he's, like, he doesn't quite qualify for hype, but I say high acceptable.
High acceptable.
And I need to find
I know more hype is coming, so...
Yeah, it's definitely aesthetic.
Oh, we forgot to put Zuban somewhere.
We did forget to put Zuban somewhere. I said he was in hype.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me blanking on that because we were distracted. Yeah, on his own, he's pretty cool. It's another example of the mecha actually matches the aesthetic of the ranger that pilots or becomes in. So that works.
Yeah.
And it has the same matching Skyland Sea system because while Gosei Knight is the land header, we have the Sea Lion and Sky Lion. So it's all good. Matches the Trinity. And it's another 3-piece 6th Ranger combiner. Okay, Goji Rex.
Peak. Look, Goryujin, Goju
Rex.
Yeah, Goju Rex. Like, look at this boy. Look at this friendly, handsome boy. I would take him to meet my mom.
This is unfortunately another example of the mecha not matching quite matching the aesthetic because obviously it's blue overtoned, but it's good for not matching. And like I think Hunter's still higher.
Yeah.
Like, Hunter is hard to beat. I don't know why they're sending me shift reminders because I'm on vacation still.
Come back to us. Come back.
And then Gozyujin.
Gozyujin!
Drill hand. Gets bonus points.
The drill that pierces the heavens.
The drill that pierces the heavens.
That can also act as a spinning shield like freaking Dinobot.
Yeah. And this is another one I have over here. I'd wish they'd actually done this in the show once they did the Goju Gokaiyo combination, because it's not like the rest of the mech is missing. They could... this would have been like a final battle thing. Hell, with the mini plot, because they use the same connector joints for the legs as on Gokaiyo, you could actually swap the legs completely around. There's an image of that, I believe, on my DeviantArt account. I think I might have put it there, or otherwise it's buried in my Twitter feed from mid last year.
Daniel Ramsey. Look, it's Earth Garen from Ultraman Blazer.
Ha. Yeah, the Goju drill being multifunction, triple drill dream is fantastic. It's like it can't beat the wall that is Gao Hunter, but it does everything that Gao Hunter does.
Unfortunately, the drill cannot quite pierce the Hunter.
Yeah. Plus, you can use the Mega Wing. Yeah, I kind of wish that Gozyujin had been able to use a few more of the 6th Ranger powers and extra Ranger powers, obviously, since Black Knight is an extra Ranger. I wish they'd been able to use them more like the main Gokaiyo did, but what they did with Gozyujin being supporting, it was fine. Like, if they want to do anything else, I kind of feel like they should have given it gold mode upgrade parts, but again, that would require them doing more with the merch line than they actually did. And considering how well Gokaiger sold because of the Ranger keys, the fact that they're still releasing Ranger keys, it says a lot about its longevity. And unfortunately, when Bandai of America tried to do those extra Zords, like, they were awful. They were just awful. Moving on. Go Buster Beat.
I like this guy.
He's fair.
Yeah. He's a fair lad, you know.
Unfortunately, it suffers from the gimmicks of having to have an animal mode, a vehicle mode, and a robot mode.
Right, but I would
It's like, if that crane arm, if the splitting crane arm could retract a bit more, I think it'd be better. Also, those separate blades really do not function in the mini-pla.
They don't.
Yeah.
But I would put him in unacceptable.
Yeah, he's an acceptable one. Finding it on the list. Where should we be acceptable? Lower side of acceptable.
Should we put Gunbajin in clearance?
I think we have enough. Uninspired is crowded enough that we can move him down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, moving on. Buster Heracles.
He's clunky.
Yeah. I'm forgetting the name of Beat J Stag's mech in this, but because it basically acts as armaments, he will be represented in the Armament Mecha.
But, like, the fact that the fuselage, is that the word, the fuselage?
The core body.
The core body of the jet turns into a gun. It's not even if the gun actually transformed into something that resembled a gun and not just clearly the middle of a jet, there'd be something, but you know what I'm trying to say, right?
I feel like the problem with Go Buster's Mecha is the same as Go Anger's, in that they're made more for the combination, but not in a way that actually ends up being aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
They're just too busy.
Too busy.
And actually, the more you combine them, the worse it gets.
Especially in Go Buster's case.
Yeah. So honestly, I'd rate this lower, and considering how crowded acceptable is, I kind of want to put it in uninspired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Pyramidas.
Hype.
The first of 3 from Kyoryuger, because obviously 2 extra rangers that got full mecha modes. The fact that this can have its own animal mode, independent robot mode, combined mode, and then have its own combined mode with all the limbs so it can do its own form of limb swapping makes it all the yes. That is why it is hype.
It is definitely top of hype, I feel.
Because it can do everything.
I would put it on top of hype.
Yeah. Because it can do everything Kyoryugen does while being more agile.
And also the way it connects with other limbs is just ingenious. It just
folds up the arm
and wing, and then you just plug the component in, and it doesn't. And it not only changes the aesthetic of everything, but it's clean.
Yeah. It even advertises how different and uniquely it transforms on the mini boxes, which I have not built yet because I haven't gotten to it because I have been busy editing stuff. Yeah, Pyramidas was it's an early debut 6 Ranger mech, but it was a hard one to beat, also especially because it actually, we'll actually talk about this when we do the armaments list, but it actually allowed Drillera to actually be used as a drill arm.
Oh, and also when it was evil, it had a sick cape.
I don't think we put the evil version of it on here because it's the difference of a cape and a mask. It's not the same kind of transformation that Gao Hunter goes through.
The cape was cool.
The cape was cool. Plesio Oh. On. I fucking love this thing.
Look, I want to put this in peak for no other reason.
I'm not arguing.
Listen, it is look. Okay, I need to pause for a second because this is I loved Yayoi's character in Kyoryuger a bunch. You know, being the nerd, the smart one of the extra rangers. You know, she was cute. She had confidence issues, but her becoming the new Kyoryu Violet was amazing. And the fact that Plesio is a space traversing plesiosaur with a cannon arm is just amazing. That is a combination of things that make Lexi's brain go, yes, yes. And the fact that it has like a pump action shotgun thing going on.
And it can still do the limb change gimmick. You can actually remove Plesio Oh's arm, not just its own, to do the same type of limb swapping. The snapping combination system of Kyoryuger was done so very well that it's the only downside of it is they don't have like an elbow joint for the linking for any of them because of how they combine.
Peace, wait, it needs about 350. Get out of here, you big luxury bouncing. Get out of here, get.
We use that joke all the freaking time. Alexis is actually sick of it.
No, I'm not sick of it. I'm just playing into a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Plesio Oh slaps. In fact, it also has one of the best theme songs in the show. Like, it's up there with Ian's and Soji's for me and how good they are. Okay, Gigant Bragi-Oh.
I have that debut of the their ultra combination in my head, but like Bragi-Oh's on its own.
It's a Titanic Gladiator.
Yeah, like Titanic Gladiator. That all like.
Unfortunately, it is another mecha that is more used for the combination because the entire damn thing is a gigantic brick.
Unfortunately, so if they did a new mini-pla of it, it would have to fix that issue. But for like, we're going off of what it is in show, and it rules.
It has like 2 or 3 uses in the show because it is unfortunately another one that is mainly used for the Gigant Kyoryugen combo. So I can't rate it as peak. I definitely think that aesthetically, and because it's so different from all the other Kyoryuger mecha, it's still strong. Actually, one of the things I wish they'd done if they'd used Gigant Bragi-Oh on its own more is if it folded down the axe and allowed it to use the snapping combination armaments as an actual different spear tips, like a gigantic long form hammer, like long mace or long spear tip, or like a gigantic rifle. It's something you can actually do with the toys, especially since that's how its combination is used in Gigant Kyoryugen. But Gigant Bragi-Oh itself can do that too, and just doesn't. And I'm disappointed it didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't try to.
So hype, but barely.
Hype's bottom of. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Let's be fair. This is the best mech in Tokyu.
Bar none. It is the best mech. It is something that it's aesthetically different from everything else. And the fact that it's not a bunch of lines slapped together. Or
I mean, they are still stacked. It's like the top and bottom, but it still retains the same
like
limb combination system.
The transformation is something different, you know?
Yeah. It's different, it's better, and then it becomes a powered tread system for the combination, a top of torso piece, and then a lance. We'll discuss that more when we get to the actual combinations list, but the Chocho Tokyu Dio is not... Chocho Tokyu Oh isn't great either. It's still like it's aesthetically pleasing. It matches the Sentai, it matches Tokyu Rokugo, but it's still not great.
We have to put it in clearance though.
We kind of have,
but top of clearance.
Definitely top of clearance.
Now remember, folks, like a lot of these 6 Ranger mechs are like amazing in their own right,
but a lot of them still feel like they're made for the combination. Yeah,
it's like at some point you start becoming like the contest between the best of the best. It gets narrower and narrower,
especially because we're gonna have to rework this for a bell curve. Okay, Bison King,
bottom,
definitely clearance.
Look, I am not all yeehaw gung ho about the Bison. I mean, the joke's funny for about 5 minutes, but...
Only 5 minutes in the debut episode.
But then you actually look about, like, how it clashes too much with the rest of the team.
I built the Shurikenja mini-pla. They're all terrible. Like, at the very least, you get the aesthetic of the throne of the giant chair, but no.
On David's brain, total bull.
Yeah. It especially compares badly to Bull Black.
Yeah, it needs to move over.
No, to do that pun, you need to extend the vowel. It's got to move over.
Sorry, but still, this thing is utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
Listen, there's not many times I can milk cow jokes in a Sentai stream, okay? You gotta give me this.
Yeah. Tosai's Juo. I actually like this more, but it's still playing up to the Sentai bricks.
Yeah. I mean, this time it's almost literally.
It's another example of it's better in combination than it is solo, because I think Wild Tosai King is the best aesthetically of the Juodra mecha. So, top of clearance, but still pretty poor. Ryutei Oh. Another 3-piece combiner, but it actually is piloted by 3 members of Kyoranger's gigantic frickin' team.
I don't think it quite works. Like, at least when you get to the feet.
The feet are like that for the combination. They're extended out so it can, like, stand up behind Kyureno.
Right, but...
It can at least do the proper limb swapping, but that then limits the ways things can combine, so it doesn't fully work out. Like, it's the 10th Ranger of an 11 Ranger team. I kind of feel like it would have been better had the Dragon allowed for all the ones that aren't combined with Kyureno to also swap in.
That would have gotten it more points, in my opinion.
Yeah. WolKaiser, donate. It's not good.
We're not putting anything in donate just yet, but I think because of that, we should put it in clearance.
I do kind of agree that Kyureno was just so good, and then the rest of the line could not add up. And the part of the problem is the Big Bear, Little Bear. Like, Okuma Sky Blue was probably one of the better Rangers of Kyuranger. I know a lot of people like his character in Arc, to the point that he's the best Ranger to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Despite him being literally the kid. And
said something.
And Chameleon having all of one goddamn episode in the show.
That's not fun.
No. 12 Rangers. Yes, you're right, Golden Garo. Yeah, it's 9 plus 2, because that's Okuma Sky Blue and Ryu Commander. And then the 12th is Houou Soldier. But yeah, this is still... It started so high and then it planted. It is not as low as Build Dio, but I honestly think Tosai Juo does more. It does more aesthetically, I should say.
And then we have
Then we have Gigant Houou.
I think this one fares a little bit better.
It fares a little better, but definitely its combination is lacking. Its combined forms is lacking. And it also does not utilize any of the other Voyagers for any type of combinations.
Right.
I feel like had they tried to do something like Pteridino, I have difficulty saying that, it might have worked better, where the arm folds up and then you have a
slot for put a Q-Tama.
A slot for the Q-Tama connector joint in. That would have worked better for this.
But as it is,
allowed a bit more utility, especially with the 2 to 3 that don't combine with anything else. But yeah, it's definitely
Media Hood reviews. Gigant Houou is the textbook definition of mid.
Yeah, so honestly, acceptable is too full, uninspired is too full. I kind of want to put it top of clearance.
Mm-hmm.
But the higher up you are in clearance, the less you are valid to be a donate option.
So what's next?
Next is X-Emperor Slash.
I don't like this guy.
I think it's better than X-Emperor Gunner.
It is. It's definitely better. But this whole mech idea doesn't, like, there's a problem in Sentai, or at least in some series, where you try to combine the Megazord or the mecha and the morpher or collectible gimmick into one unit instead of making them...
because for those who haven't seen Lupin Ranger versus Paddle Ranger and Good on You, the 6 Rangers the sixth, because he's technically the fourth member of each of the groups. His transformation device, it's literally one of the pieces of his mech. And yeah, the gold silver swap over combination, it doesn't work here very well.
Yeah, it doesn't work. You can clearly tell that like gimmicks are clashing with this one.
It's definitely the better aesthetic of the two, but it's definitely clearance. As is X-Emperor Gunner, which is worse.
Because, like, look at this thing. The Gatling gun, you may think, wait, is the Gatling gun, like, on its arm? No, it's just on its chest.
It's locked there.
And also the helmet. It's bad.
No.
It's just, no.
Like, I like that it can rotate actively in battles, but I feel like that rotate over aesthetic was done much better for Kamen Rider Geats because it's the same type of gimmick. But yeah, this is worse. Slash at least folds away the gun, but this leaves it so that it has to be outwards, and worse, it's left to be wielded by the train hand that should be a cannon as it had been used in the others. That is, the train head,
right? The
steam train head should always be a cannon.
So, and the fact that the Gatling gun doesn't detach at all to plug in anywhere.
Yeah. Plus, this whole combination scheme doesn't really allow it to do any type of armament swapping with the other Lupin collection pieces that the other Rangers get to use.
Right.
Like, you just have the 2X trains. Thunder and Fire, I believe they were.
Yeah, but
you can't really use them for much else. So it is worse. Jonathan Johnson, it's Shoutmon X4B, basically. Yeah. Moving on. Kishiryu Neptune.
He's in hype.
He is in hype. It can use all the Kishiryu system. Mozorex is great on its own. It has a special combination with Dime Volcano to create a Spinosaur combination that actually looks aesthetically pleasing. Its own, it does so much on its own, separate from the mech from Kishiryu, despite doing the same thing.
Yeah, and once again, the fact that it still interacts with the rest of the line's builder system is definite high marks.
Yeah, top of hype simply just because of how crowded Peak is.
Yeah.
Yeah, this like the entire line of the entire Kishiryu system was amazing.
Oh, the fact that it's a Mosasaur,
Yeah. Gigant Driller. Okay, this is not a clearance. I struggle to say it's hype though.
Yeah, because it's look, I think it's cool. I think it,
like, again, I like that Kira Major didn't try to do ridiculous things with combinations. I think that's a strength because all the mecha in the series on their own are actually really good.
They all do something aesthetically different from one another, but I think it's maybe a bit, well, the fact that 3 out of the 4 limbs are drills, like no real hand syndrome.
Fair. It's like if the hand drill could actually fold into a hand or split like Gozyujin did, I think it would have made it better. Mm-hmm. But it can't be hype.
It can't be hype.
So I actually like its aesthetic better than
Build.io.
No, it's going into acceptable. It's just, where do I put it?
Maybe I think honestly below Killer Oh.
Yeah, because like I feel like it definitely sells its aesthetic, and actually since hype is so barren, I'm actually moving up Gosei ground.
Yeah.
Again, we're bell curving this.
Right, like adjusting as we need it.
Yeah. These, however,
burn it.
Yeah, Tokyu Oh is garbage.
Tokyu Oh is shit.
Tokyu Oh is garbage across the board. It doesn't matter if it's the sword form. It doesn't matter if it's the gun form. It doesn't matter if it's the super mode. They're all terrible.
Do you know why they're all terrible? Like, he got the mini plus of these, and I was shocked by how bad they were. Considering that Cure Major came out before Dai-Kaiso and all their mini plus were pretty good and solid, the mini plus just reflect how shit this thing is. Like,
No, this is the absolute no. I have to do it. You have I'm counting all 3 modes. I can't. It is the 6th Ranger qualifier for this.
Like it instantly in the donate because of just how bad it is. You know? Because
it does nothing right.
And look at what they did to the poor drill for Go Ryujin.
Not Go Ryujin. They're shipper mode for that.
Yeah, but you know what I'm like the symbol. It's just no.
Its legs are just bike tires.
What the heck is this thing supposed to be?
This was the story.
Oh,
Plump Noodle. What's wrong with the mini plump? What's right about it?
Nothing
connects correctly. It doesn't really stand up on its own. I had to tighten literally every joint, and nothing stays together.
And also the fact that it has 0 posability. We're not joking. It actually lacked posability.
The DX toy had production defects. Nothing of this works.
Like, on David's brain, like everything else in Zenkaiser, it does not work.
No, better question. Who was this made for?
Okay, so you have Kaiser, who is a pirate guy. Okay, fine. Then you produce this shit. What the is it supposed to be? You know?
What were you thinking? And now, with that rant about how this is the worst 6th Ranger mech. But after we're done with that, get away from her, you bitch! I had to do the aliens quote.
We may not have watched Dawn Brothers, but I will defend the alien power loader as gimmick thing of this. Yeah.
It barely did anything, though.
It barely did anything, but at least it survives the donate bin because it is trying to do something. You want it?
Yeah. Cure Crystals. I'm guessing Star Caesar's mecha goes in a different list. Damn it. Another one I forgot.
Star Caesar?
Yeah, I didn't think of it because Stay Caesar.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah.
I forgot about him. I legitimately forgot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not on the extra mecha list, which is weird. I actually have to find the mecha in this. Thank you for reminding me, because yeah, I gotta find it here. Yeah, it's not even on the listing of Mecha and Robo as part of the series. Yeah, it's under not even there. Great Worlds. Yeah, Battle Caesar Robo. That's why it did not show up on the list.
Let's just count one of them as all of them.
That's what I was doing, because it's basically the same robot, but with different armaments. Yeah, because I don't even think of Stay Caesar as the extra ranger. I think of him as a dark hero ranger. 045-4. Let's see, Robo 3. And then pull up from here. Close out that. And yeah, and again, an example of me not thinking of it.
To be fair, it's Zenkaiser, so
it's Zenkaiser.
Your brain was trying to save you.
Yeah, so let me get this back. Should hopefully not have this problem again with the next lists, because it's just these oddball ones that aren't on the mecha lists. Okay, so oh right, I gotta add it to the tier lists as well.
Oh, David's brain. This purple monstrosity is ugly as hell that ripped off Kamina's glasses.
Yeah. Tokyu also Stacy has 2 bots, right? One was a black Juran Gao. I'm not counting those type of black.
No,
that specifically, because that was just there to sell a toy, and it was it was just an enemy mecha for one thing. Yeah. It's not the standard black Sentai Robo that is actually factored into.
Should we put you
forgot the giant purple shark robot from Dawn Brothers. We haven't gotten there yet, and Don Murasame's mech, and that's an evil Sentai mecha, not an extra.
Yeah, remember, evil Ranger is different from Extra.
Actually, well, yeah, that's why this shouldn't be on here to begin with. I can't actually remove it now. Because they spent most of the series as... Yep, that's actually why I didn't include it. They were evil Sentai Mecha, so actually this screwed up my entire list. Yeah, we were going to do an evil mecha list. That's why this wasn't here.
Duh.
That's why this wasn't here. That's why Murasame isn't here. They're not actually extra rangers, but they count their evil.
That's a collective minds kerfuffle.
Yeah, so forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
back on
fucking track. Yeah, its aesthetic is sold by trapping a tiger in a dragon. I'm not a fan of this.
It's not a fan. Like, I mean, I appreciate it that it's doing something different, but still,
yeah,
you can place it wherever you feel like.
Yeah, I think this is bad. Like, it's definitely more meant to combine, but even the combinations for Dawn Brothers aren't very good. It's another case of the first mech was the best mech, but even the first mech wasn't really intended from the start.
But now,
okay, Tarantula Knight.
Tarantula Knight. I would need more pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with this. It has...
I would honestly put it in a candidate for peak.
It is a high hype.
High hype. Okay, high hype. I will agree.
Just to continue selling this, while it doesn't have the full 8 limbs, it gets close. The front 2 limbs are like... It can use all of the supports, Guardian Shoe Gods at once. It can use 2 of the Legend Shoe Gods if they wanted to. They don't show it in the show because this is mainly CGI. And then it has a pretty awesome tarantula mode. It's proportionally appropriate. It has the spider gun. Like, this is one of the better CGI mecha Super Sentai has ended up doing. I wish it was a full suit, though.
But considering how it's CGI how it's utilized in the CGI, and the fact that when it does combine, it is an actual physical thing.
Yeah. I was like... King Oger has been limited in how much it has used the mecha, and it has been to its benefit, but there are some areas where I definitely see them using it better, and that is definitely in Tarantula Knight gaining utilization of all of anything that can attach onto those types of hard points. You can do it with the toys, you can do it with the mini plot. I just wish they'd shown, like, say, just once it trying to fire the Kabuto cannon. Plumfadoodle, it's a shame Tarantula Knight isn't used ever in the show after the first 3 episodes. Yeah, again, that is a thing King Oger is just doing with its mecha because it's limiting how much it is using them across the board. But, and of course, because of Hercules being revealed recently, spoilers for King Oger, to not be entirely a bad guy, we kind of have to include King Oger Zero here.
And, like, at first you're thinking, shouldn't this be an evil, like, mech? Well, again, yeah. Hercules was revealed to actually be trying to... Like, he was walking the path of evil, but for very good reasons. He just got drunk on his own power. And... like, King Oger
recontextualizes a lot of what was going on.
Yeah.
This is another point where we'd also have to count this on the evil mecha list because Hercules is a major villain throughout a lot of the show. The difference is he was being a major villain for the right reasons, whereas Stay Caesar and Don Murasame were not doing so themselves. And yeah, this is that line we're kind of on where Alexis and I kind of debated it, and a lot of the recontextualization of Hercules' actions kind of forces it over the line into being a full extra hero mecha. Spoilers for recent events. On David's brain, Hercules was pulling a Lelouch. No, he wasn't. Lelouch is actually represented by basically every other character in the show. The main character in the show. Lelouch is that guy who can be 6 different characters. Unfortunately, Hercules through most of the show is actually the Schneisel. So this is the what if Schneisel wasn't a complete piece of shit kind of character.
Right. But back on the mech itself, King Oger himself was already a peak mecha in our opinion, but what do we think about him in, like, Black and Gold?
And Silver with the underbody.
Yeah.
Again, Plumpadoodle, this mech was always used on the side of evil when I was around, so it's weird. So was Stay Caesar's mech and Don Murasame, so again, those are kind of more problematic. This is why this is borderline. Doesn't some 6th Ranger start as evil Senshis, for example, Barai from Zyuranger? Again, the problem is majority of use. How much of that time do they spend as evil, where is it a last-minute change for the character? With the Hercules, it wasn't a last-minute change. It's side agenda. And yeah, it is held back by being pure CGI. Pure Crystal Operator Killer from Operator. Again, people are going to argue with us for this, and it's whether it's the majority. And when Stacy's are too late, Don Murasame, last episodes, they can't qualify for this. Operator Killer was part of the main mecha line intended. So, I'm going to actually leave this up to vote. Do you guys want us to leave it off the list?
Yeah. Should we put King Oger Zero on this list?
Another reason why Stay Sears and Don Murasame don't count, they didn't get Ranger keys. So again, we're leaving up to the chat. Do you guys want us to rate this on this list or not?
That's one vote for yes.
2 yeses, 1 no. 3 yeses, 1 no. 4, 5. Abstaining. Yeah, we're putting on the list. King Oger Zero, I think it's appropriate to put it around hype, but the original contrasting aesthetics of the original King Oger are better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd say...
Bottom of hype.
Bottom of hype. TDK Blazer, don't mind it. Reckley's actor was just glorious in the role. Okay, so... we need to go with the clearance ratings, and what is the worst Extra Ranger mech in this list? We only actually have 1 Extra Ranger mecha, technically, that's the worst on this list.
And that's
Gun Majin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he gets the down vote, but he is not at the bottom. He is not at the bottom.
He is not a bottom. He's
not at the bottom. Rez, what is the greatest 6th and Extra Ranger mechs of all time? Extra Ranger is a competition between WolKaiser, Plesio Oh, and Deka Base.
Oh, don't make me choose, man. Don't make me choose between my children, okay? I can't Sophie's Choice this. Like all 3 of them do something cool for me. Oh, why do you make me do?
We could actually toss this one up to the chat in exchange for us leaving off of Stay Caesar and Don Murasame, and yes, we will do a villain mecha list. That one will actually take a lot of research because there are a lot of non-standard villain mecha robo in Super Sentai. That'll probably be the largest list.
Okay, we got 1 vote for Deka Base.
2 for Deka Base. 1 for WolKaiser and Plesio Oh each. We'll give people a bit more time to respond. 3 for Deka Base. 2 for Plesio Oh.
All right. The 2020 deck.
Oh, do you have a poll option for YouTube? I don't know if we do.
Oh, we got 3 for Plesio. Oh, another. Oh wow, I think Deka Base and Deka Base and Plesio. No, Tarot Death. You can't vote multiple times.
Yeah, that's more difficult to push this off. And honestly, the chat has split themselves.
Ooh.
Oh, this chat is equally split.
Oh no! Oh no! All right. All right, I have to do this. I'm invoking Imperial privilege again.
Okay, what do you want?
Deka Base.
We're leaning towards the chat on it. I mean, it's technically bottom of peak, but
it may be bottom of peak here, but that's only because of how stacked everybody else is.
Yeah, and also to be fair to Deka Base, it is the largest functional mecha in Super Sentai. So Yeah, Deka base is still overwhelming, even with people shuffling their votes, and it's still an even split between the two for Extra Ranger Mecha.
Yeah.
So this is definitely going to be a difference of opinion between different groups. So yeah, we're going with Deka base, with Deka base Robo.
And I chose Deka base basically because it sets out to do everything it needs to do. And that is be a giant symbol to all the villains that would try to attack the Deka Rangers. Don't with the home base. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if you rolled onto that thing and how big it would be. Like, you're walking into, like, all those guns, you know?
Yeah.
But now...
It's a close match, though. 6th Ranger, though.
Oh.
Gozyujin, Gao Hunter, or Q-Rex.
Oh, God.
This is the Sophie's choice.
That's a Sophie's choice.
It's like, I adore Time Ranger Mecha, but Gao Hunter. Like, for me, it's between those two.
All right, so, Chad, who is the best 6th Ranger mech? Q-Rex, Gao Hunter, or Gozyujin?
Yeah. The chat is again equally split.
Oh no! Chad, why? Why do you betray me?
On David's lab, Q-Rex, since it can stand on its own and doesn't exist as part of a combo. That is a fair point. But Gozyujin has the same thing going for it.
Oh, God. Oh no! The chat. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, the chat is equally split.
Oh no.
Like, I wish I'd had a die, because the die is cast. This is the legitimate conflict.
Oh, wait, hold on. You gotta choose, bro.
Okay, let's be fair on this. Gozyujin is as great as it is because it's drawing upon other mechs while doing its own aesthetic, but it is still influenced by Q-Rex, so...
Oh!
It is still peak, but where does it originate?
Oh, that's I think...
Yeah, so I kind of want to go with the Q-Rex overall.
I feel like that's fair. I did not even consider that Gozyujin is only as great as it is because of how it draws influences from other things.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're gonna go with Q-Rex, VRX Robo, and call it a list.
Yeah. And that's a pretty respectable list, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'm gonna move Kishiryu Neptune up.
To peak?
Yeah, just to rebalance. And I can't move anything else up, I can't move anything else down, but yeah, when you think about it, there are actually I think this is the highest clearance rating we've had for Sentai Robo overall, because 6 Ranger Mecha are usually amazing or garbage.
Right, there is, the in-between is very...
Yeah, and it's like, it's just a judgment of how do you bell curve them all at the end of the day.
But... yeah, I'm proud of this list.
Yeah, we'll call it...
I do laugh how the minute Zenkaiser stuff came up, you immediately threw that in the trash. Like,
threw it on the ground, because you can't get worse.
Like,
they have not gotten worse yet. Who knows? Maybe Boon Boonger will actually prove us wrong and might have something worse, but I highly doubt it.
Like, that's how low the bar has been set.
Yeah. It's like, we can't disrupt, and yeah, we will do a Sentai villain list to give vindication for Stay Caesar's mech and Don Murasame. It's just like, the show's been around for 50 years. There are a lot of robots that, well, they weren't made as toys, were piloted by villains.
Right.
Like, what was the one from Bioman?
Bari's? No, it wasn't Bari's. Or
yeah, the Biohunter Silvers, the one Biohunter Silver sent spent the series.
Yeah, that like
the one they actually made an SMP of that.
That actually looks really cool.
Yeah, even though there was no DX toy for it originally, and those kinds of things across all of Sentai will make it a huge list. Yeah. And yeah, the villain list will probably be the largest one after Auxilary Mecha and possibly Ultimate Mecha, because we have to double count a couple series due to how they have alternate combinations.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a list from us. We will probably not be back next week, depending on how my schedule works out, because I'm trying to get on a group stream with a few people to discuss the series, but we're having schedule problems with that, and then the week after might not happen because of what I'm doing that week, but in the next few weeks, we'll have should we do Auxiliary or Armaments first? Because some of I don't remember if any of the Auxiliary Mecha can use some of the Armaments. Yeah, that's a completely different list to do, and then after that, whichever one we do first, it'd be movie debut Mecha, then combinations, then final debuts.
Honestly, these mecha lists have been doing pretty well for us. So
yeah, and I'm betting that once we end the actual stream, people are going to comment in the chat our refusal to put on mecha that were added of late end villain redeemed heroes in the more recent series. But it's like it's not enough time. Even Mikoto and Abaranger redeemed earlier, and its mech was around as part of the line, whereas it's not a late add-on to anything. So, but yeah, people are probably going to disagree with this, but they will be on a list eventually. So yeah, we'll see it. We'll see it when we see it when we schedule the next one.